I am live again. Let me make sure everything is good. Let me try that again. My mic was muted. Okay. So I want to make sure I'm live on my platforms, YouTube and LinkedIn. Let's see. And there's definitely a delay. Okay. Yes, I am live. I want to welcome everyone to the last day of my 4-day masterclass today. We have been talking about the benefits of having your Woman Minority Business Enterprise certification or certificate, becoming certified, and the opportunities that it will open up for you as a clinical research entrepreneur, professional. And again, I want to reiterate this is something I didn't know about until my mom told me about it. So I'd like to go ahead and get started. Today's session is not going to be long, but will cover a little bit about the revenue opportunities that you will have as a certified WMBE. And there's one for men too as well. So again, we're going to talk about how the certification opens up doors for government, state, and federal and clinical research contract opportunities. Today is the last session, and let's get started. This is for anyone that is wanting to know a little bit more about how the process works. So again, if you're a site owner, a consultant, clinical research entrepreneur, this class is for you. We're going to focus on the market and procurement landscape briefing. We're going to discuss how certification functions inside sourcing systems. Because whenever you are certified, you do have to register. I know in my case, since I live in Missouri, it's called Missouri Buys. So essentially, it's almost like a phone book. Once you become certified, you have to go to the phone book and get registered so the buyers can see, like, hey, we have another vendor we can choose from that's in our phone book, if you will. That's the best way, simplest way I can put it. And then we're going to discuss the revenue potential based upon the public data, what's out there. I have a list of resources that I pulled this information from. I did not put it all on the slides because it's too many of them. I do want to let you know that whenever you register for this masterclass, you will have access to the replays. You have access to the replays on my LinkedIn Live and YouTube, but I'm going to house all of these sessions in Thinkific. And because I'm housing all these sessions in Thinkific, I'm going to add a little bit more, like a little mini guide and just a few more things to help you be successful at getting your certification. So you're not getting this on the live, but whenever you actually register for this masterclass, these events, then again, it's going to put you on the waiting list for the WMBE retreat. And then you're going to have more information and access to PDFs and checklists in order for you to be successful with this certification. Again, this session is purely informational and it's not promotional. All right, I'm going to make my screen bigger. And again, type in the comments where you're from. And if you have your certification, if you don't, let me know too. And let me know where you're from as well. And what is your profession? I know there are a lot of people that are not in the clinical research space that actually have they're certified. So it's a whole range of entrepreneurs and business owners that actually have their certification. And it's not just clinical research. Okay, so how certification creates access to government contracts. again, even if you don't have if you're not certified, it really limits your ability to bid on these contracts to get in the system. Because, I mean, as a minority, as I mentioned before in my previous courses or the webinars, the government has mandated for corporations to do business with minority owned business owners. So, whenever you get this certification, this opens up a wide range of opportunities. And then it places you in a position to get picked by the supplier so they have diversity goals that they have to meet and supplier goals that they have to meet too. So, just keep that in mind. Just because you have your certification, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the contracts, but the eligibility filter, it increases, it exposes you a lot better. And I will go back to my mother. Whenever she got her certification, I guess something happened, she let it lapse or whatever, and she thought she would be able to get her contracts a lot easier. Well, it was a lot harder. So she had to go back and I think recertify. And once she recertified, she was able to, get the contracts a lot easier. So it does make a huge difference. The certification creates access to government contracts. It determines which vendors appear in the procurement searches. It is used to meet statutory and supply diversity requirements. I just mentioned that. Also, its access is created before conversations begin. So this session is designed to provide market clarity, not a tactical bidding instruction. Bidding instructions will come later on, and those are going to be the high touch and workshops that I will be doing. And also, as I'm progressing along in this process, I will be teaching you all some of the lessons learned and some of the things that actually work and what does not work, even as it pertains to creating your capability statement and then going through the RFP process. There's a lot of layers that are into it that goes along with it, but it's well worth it. Okay. The goal is to understand how certification operates inside formal procurement ecosystems using public data and documented processes. Also, just to kind of give you a little nugget, go to some of your big pharma companies. If you can think of some of some of the most popular pharma companies, CROs and sponsors. Do yourself a favor, go and type in, let's say, WMBE and clinical research for sponsors. And you're going to be surprised at some of the companies that actually honor and recognize those that have their WMBE certification. As a matter of fact, I was actually shocked. And as I said, they have supplier diversity goals that they have to meet, and they're looking for minority business owners to help them streamline their processes, or they're looking to buy your services. So where buyers source certified vendors, where are they looking for them? So the vendor sourcing occurs in structured systems. Certification enables discoverability in databases. Another database for government contracts is sam.gov. I'm going through that one too. You don't necessarily have to go through sam.gov, but I think if you're looking for government contracts, you do. Social media platforms are secondary to procurement systems. We talked about that yesterday. And then these systems, they're not social platforms, but they are where official vendor discovery and eligibility screening take place. Types of engagements observed in market. Okay, so I'm just giving you an overview of what type of contracts you can actually bid on or categorize yourself depending upon what you offer. So for my business, I offer workforce development programs, training and education, consulting and engagements. I have community-based initiatives based upon my nonprofit organization, and then also research adjacent supportive services. So those are just a few services and or contracts that are out there. I will tell you there's transportation services that are out there. There are cleaning services that are out there, even spa services that are out there. I was shocked, but there are companies that are looking for someone, and the spa services, I have to go back and look, but it was very niche down to what this company offered, but they ended up landing a contract with the government or state or federal, whichever one. They landed a pretty hefty contract. And I was, I'm shocked at the amount of money that people can win or, bid on. But again, it depends upon your, the company, your company capability. So I mentioned yesterday and I'll mention today, if you're only capable of delivering a $30,000 contract service, then that's what you need to bid on and not bid on $150,000. Um, Below. So these engagements reflect how agencies and institutions operationalize funding, and they're not one-off opportunities. Scope and service category drive how work is packaged and awarded. And again, make sure you have registered for this event because I plan on having a WMBE retreat next year, and it's going to be high level touched. And we're going to do a more of a deeper dive and not just a high level overview of what it means to have your WMBE certification. So, how are the contracts structured? Uh, contracts are structured Contract structure is determined by risk compliance requirements and funding authority and not vendor preference. They are structured in a way project-based awards, annual agreements, renewable programs, pilot initiatives, multi-year contracts, and structure driven by scope and funding source. I will tell you that if you're not doing very well with the deliverables that you bid on, you have a contract with the company, you will lose the contract. However, there are some companies, I think if you're new or if they're not really aware of you, but it seems like you have a service that they have that to offer them, they will do like a pilot initially. And if you do very well, then they will actually renew the contracts. So that's where the multi-year contracts come through. Also, hang on just a second. Let's see here. So the thing that everybody wants to know, what are the how can you monetize and what's the range? I've seen contracts that you can get up to the millions. I've seen $5 million contracts, $2 million contracts. And again, it depends upon your capability, your infrastructure. Do you have a business that can deliver a $5 million contract? If not, then you're looking at maybe a $15,000, 50K to 100K, 75 to 150. Pilot programs are 10K to $30,000. These are some pretty nice contracts. And one contract I think I saw, and sometimes they're not all year. Sometimes it may be for 3 to 9 months, and you're looking at $76,000 for that contract. So you have literally made $76,000 within 3 to 6 months versus a year. So keep that in mind too. The contracts you can win are very lucrative. They're very nice. So I urge you to go ahead and get your certification because again, it opens up more doors versus being the regular employee. And again, since I'm an entrepreneur, I still have to work my day job. Also keep that in mind. But it does come to a point to where you will eventually get rid of your day job, maybe, depending upon the responsibilities you have at your day job. So the data where does the data come from? The data sources form the backbone of federal procurement analysis and are relied on across sectors. That should be sectors. So the data comes from federal agencies required to report awards, data governed by federal reporting standards, and it's used by analysts, consultants, and institutions. And I do believe that, as I mentioned here, once you have been awarded a contract, they do have to keep up with those with the data. And I think that data is publicly announced, but I have to go back and look and make for sure. Let's see. The session is not very long at all. So visibility, it does matter. It doesn't replace the certification, but it does support evaluation and risk assessment. It reduces perceived execution risk during sourcing decisions. Again, having the certification, it does put you in a solid place, and it does create trust, because once you have that certification, you need to actually place yourself in the buyer's index, if you will. And then I think the state itself, once you're certified, you're able to look that up. The buyers are able to look you up and see that you are certified. And again, buyers assess clarity, familiarity, and risk. The content reinforces confidence during evaluation. So using your certification plus the content to position for B2B deals, and this for 2026, you are looking at B2B clients. We're not looking at B2C, because your B2B clients are those companies and corporations that can actually help fund your business as a small minority business owner. So together, certification and visibility support long cycle B2B decision making, especially in regulated environments. Certification creates structured access. Content builds builds a familiar platform and trust. Visibility increases recall in sourcing cycles, and combined approach strengthens B2B positioning. Let's see here. So again, whenever you have your certification, just to recap for today, this is something that's not taught in the industry. If it is, I don't know anything about it. I will say I went to one of the bigger CROs website, and I saw where they actually talked about having the certification and the steps that they actually take to, reach out to the vendors, what they're looking for, your capability, if you're able to deliver what you say you're going to deliver. So in the actual Think of It course, I will kind of touch on that too. So you'll have an idea on which companies, corporations in the clinical research industry recognize WMBE business owners. So approval doesn't necessarily mean instant money. That goes for anything. Your contracts are executed before the invoices roll around. Enterprise organizations operate on billing cycles and not urgency. Delays in invoicing are often a sign of scale, not disorganization. Access, onboarding, and performance matter more than speed. So we clarified a critical mindset shift. In B2B procurement, enterprise partnerships, silence is not a problem when the contract is executed and access has been granted. Your role at this stage is not to chase, it's to document, prepare, and operate like a partner. So here's some couple of action items for today. You need to create your executed agreement folder. So within the next 24 to 48 hours, create a dedicated digital folder that includes a signed contract, certificate of execution, any onboarding emails or access confirmations, key dates such as execution date, invoice window, and payment terms. This folder becomes your accounting record, audit trail, confidence anchor when timelines feel slow. Action number 2, let's see here. Draft, but don't send a professional follow-up. Write a short, neutral invoice check-in email and save it as a draft. Of course, don't send it. This is just practice. It does 2 things. It keeps you prepared without being reactive, and it allows you to send it calmly if the timeline truly passes. You need to be ready, and the goal is to be ready, not urgent. You're not going to be urgently sending something. So basically, you need to have templates ready. I will go on to tell you some of the things that you need to be prepared for, as I mentioned before. And the resources that I have, I will upload those into Thinkific. Let's see here. Let's see here. Whenever you have to register in sam.gov. There is a little bit of a paragraph that you have to upload in sam.gov, basically kind of giving an overview of your services that you have to offer. What's something else that you have to do? I'm just trying to think to make sure you are ready for the bidding and contract. Because the goal right now is for you to understand, like, okay, going through the steps to get your certification, and then what contracts are you eligible for? If your company just does training and development, then that's what you need to stick with. Also, let's say if a CRO is looking for someone or a company to do training and development, well, you're going to make for sure that whatever training and development that you have to offer is going to help that CRO execute their needs. You're solving a problem for their needs. So, I mean, the contract could be $15,000 to $30,000. It could be $175,000. So just to kind of give you an idea of your options and the actual money you can make, the money that you can make is pretty lucrative. I'm telling you, I was actually shocked, but it's well worth it. It's well worth going through the process. It's well worth getting your LLC, making sure all your taxes are in line, making sure you know your services, and making sure you know which supplier to actually go for. You don't want to go for a supplier and try to create a contract or a relationship with them knowing that you can't fit their business needs. Let's see here. I'm looking to see if anybody has any questions. And again, whenever we talk about revenue opportunities, people want to know, how much money can I actually make? Well, you really can't skip over these steps, but just to let you know, the money is out there. The government has set aside up to 5% or maybe even 13% of contracts, so you can have the opportunity to land one of those contracts. They're set aside for minority business owners. So it's in your best interest to go ahead and get certified. Does anyone have any questions? I see 2 people that are online. This session was real quick and not too much information to dive into because it can become pretty lengthy. And that's not what I want my masterclass to be. I just want you to have an overview of your opportunities that can be presented to you. That way you're not leaving money on the table as a clinical research entrepreneur. So here's the deal. You can become a site owner. If you're already a site owner, here's another way of generating revenue. Or if you're working to become a site owner, well, there's still another way of generating revenue, right? And I'm going to see if I have any questions on here from anyone. And it does not look like it. So whenever you enroll in this course and you enroll in the register, you'll have a little bit more information that's not presented on the live, because the live, it would just take way too long, way too long. And I want to see something. I'm going to check on something right quick. Just to give you all an idea of what you can bid on. Let's see. Let's see here. I'm looking to see if I can find something to show you all while we're here online. That's not what I want. Ooh, this is a good one. I'm going to share this with you all. So let me make sure my screen. Oops. So let's take a look at this right quick. Top 10 federal contracts of 2025, $197 billion in opportunities. I know this is one of the things that you want to talk about. So I just want to go through here right quick and show you all the opportunities that are out there. Okay. So there's one that ranks number one agency. Some of these agencies, actually, I've never heard of. Well, some of them I've never heard of. GSA, the value of a $75 billion contract. It's the proposals were due on the earlier this year in February. Here's another one for $50 billion. That proposal was due in February as well. So this is the amount of money that has been set aside for each of these agencies. And then they're telling you like, hey, this is when your proposal is due, when you can actually bid. Okay. So as they moved into 2025, contractors are preparing for some of the largest and most impactful opportunities in recent years. The top 10 bids span multiple agencies and sectors, offering contracts worth a combined $197 billion. From IT to advanced technology and construction, these opportunities represent significant chances to grow your federal business pipeline. So I'm going to look up another one right quick to show you all. Um, let's see here. And I don't know. Let's see if we can find something. Top 2026 federal opportunities. Whew. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then. Okay. Not what I want. You all, I'm actually going over uh, the opportunities, contract opportunities, whenever you are certified as a WMBE, you get your certification. So it looks like Department of Labor budget in brief, fiscal year for 2025. This excerpts for Employment and Training Administration. And let me make for sure that this is, yeah, showing. Let's scroll down for just a little bit. Okay. So check this out. For the fiscal year of 2025, the Department of Labor is a $13.9 billion in discretionary budget authority, and it looks like over 15,000 employees with an additional mandatory funding and supplemental FTE. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find. Maybe this is not what I want. I'm trying to find something for you all without having to do all this. You all let me know where you're from and if you actually have your contract or certification. Okay, here's a good one. Okay. Share. So, if you live in New York City, city contracts, New York City's WM for men and women program offers contracts up to $1.5 million for goods, professional services, standard services, construction directly to city certified MWBEs without formal competition. So it looks like for the state of New York, offers MWMBE certification program that provides benefits such as being placed on the certified MWBE directory, not being subject to competitive bidding requirements for procurements under $200,000, and a higher likelihood of being awarded contracts. Let's see. Let's go to that one. That just takes you to a website. So, just to kind of give you an idea of the amount of money that is set aside for those that have your certification is astronomically high. It's a really great opportunity. Put your questions in the chat if you have any. If you do not have any questions, I will be hopping off here in just a second. Oh, I tell you what, I think what I will do is pull up at least one supplier just so you have an idea. Um, and since we are in the clinical research space, I want to show you at least one of the CROs. Hi, Mohammed. How are you today? We're talking about revenue opportunities here, and I'm actually going to show you one of the companies that's in this industry that actually honors and they recognize those that have their certification. Okay. PPD, part of Thermo, WMBE contract opportunities. This contract is valued at $548 million and aims to support the collection and migration of electronic patient-reported outcomes and other patient-generated health data in clinical trials. So let's just go to their website right quick. Let's see. It's not pulling up what I want. All right. Again, how are you doing today? You all can't find what I want. But anyway, they're one of them. They're one of them. Let's see. I will have to find it later. I have the link somewhere that takes me directly to the actual part of the website. Okay. I don't want to stay on here for very long. All right. You're welcome. I know you got on a little later, but as long as you have registered, I'll have all these courses in Thinkific, and then I'll have like PDF guides and how-to guides and checklists that you're not going to get on the live. Let's see. All right. I don't think there are going to be any more people hopping on. I see one. Okay. All right. This ends today's session. As I said, it wasn't very long, not too in depth. A lot of times people just want to know how much money they can make. But the process is pretty lengthy. And just in case you missed it, and these are just rough estimates what contracts or how much you can bid on. Very rough. And that's all I have, everyone. If you don't have any questions, I will be logging off today. And this concludes today's session. And again, remember to work on getting your certification so it places you in a position to start bidding on contracts. All right, everyone. I will talk to you soon. Please do ask me questions. You can inbox me and I will do my best to answer the questions. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.